One, and we're live.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello, everyone. We're really excited. It's going to be a power hour like none we've ever had before. Everybody in the chat, please introduce yourselves and where you're from, and let's connect. It's going to be quite an amazing hour. I'm here with the incredible Julia Cannon, the daughter of Dolores Cannon, the author of countless books exploring consciousness, past lives, higher levels of being and consciousness. And the theme of this episode is very much interrelated to many of the books that Dolores has gone through and a lot of what we do with the practice of quantum healing hypnosis technique. It's going to be really fun. What do you think, Julia?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. There was another word there, but I couldn't find it. Couldn't agree. Blah, blah, blah. This is, see, when they do this, okay, I got to explain this so people don't think I'm an absurd idiot over here. So it's like, when this happens, it's because, as you know, I mean, it's starting to happen to you, I think, too, Kaya, as far as like when the channel is right there and if the energies are right there and you're picking up all kinds of energies, it kind of makes this system, it takes it a minute to acclimate to it, and it goes, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and others out there understand, okay? I guess I'm doing it for you. I love it when they use me. I told them use me. They can use me to give examples, and they do it all the time. So I guess others are out there having some of those issues, or you call it issues. They're not issues. They're just signs of transformation, of you getting bigger and being a bigger part of yourself.
So maybe can you describe what you're feeling when you're speaking, and then you feel to say, "Oh, there's a message from you. They have a message for me." What's going on there?
No, there's just a deep. Sometimes I'll feel energy. And, I mean, it went through many stages, and now what I get is there's like a deep sense of knowing. I just know something, and I can sense it. It's almost like an antenna that's going out, and I can sense if it's for someone else, if it's for me, if it has where it relates. Because sometimes I'm sitting there going, "What is this about?" And they'll go, "Oh, somebody needs this." I mean, I just feel that. I just know it. It used to be I would actually hear, and sometimes I'll say I'm hearing something, but what it is it's that knowing. It's like every cell of my body knows something. That's cool. It was odd to get used to at first, but all of a sudden it's just like, I know this. And so I just do it. And somebody tries to argue with me. It's like, but I know better. I know this. And because they'll push even harder. And it's like that knowing comes in even stronger. It's like, that's what it is. So, I just learned to trust it. And, okay, so somebody wants to know. See, here's how it works. Somebody wants to know some of the stages that it went through to understand where they are in this process. Okay. Here's one right here. See, I'm feeling like a sensation right here in my throat. Well, guess what that might mean?
What's that?
It means, what does the throat represent?
I guess speaking.
Speaking, exactly. So when I get a sensation there, sometimes it's just a whirling, or it's just a funny feeling, or it's actually a tugging feeling. It's kind of hard to explain unless you're in that body, knowing what it feels like. But it's like, what I take from that is my voice needs to say something. It's like there's something I need to say, something that needs to happen here. So that's how that interprets to me. And that's their message. See, this is how they talk, and they'll use different things. It's like I'll get hit sometimes when I'm hearing something, and I'll get hit right in the heart or the high heart right here. Then I know it's just like, oh my gosh, love. There's so much love, and I'm picking it up from people. I'm picking it up from the message. I'm picking it up from something, but it's like that tells me the source of that information. I love that one. It also, that's a great way to understand truth, and we have our truth bumps, which I've talked about many times. Common everyday people know them, or just the average word for them. I don't know if I'm common. There aren't any common everyday people anymore. It's just the way it is. But our normal term for these are called goosebumps. And so if you've ever had goosebumps, and I dare to say probably everybody has at one time or another,
Sure.
That is an ability. And that's one of your first ways of getting messages. Because some people say, well, I don't get messages. I don't know if I get anything. I don't get. And that's just because we're comparing ourselves. We have expectations of ourselves, and we're comparing ourselves to other people. And it's like, well, Susie gets visions, and Joe hears things, and whatever. There's different ways of getting information or doing this. And so it's like, but that doesn't happen to me. So it must not happen to me. I don't get messages. I don't get anything like that. So that's where the goosebumps are wonderful, to show people that, yes, you do get messages. You can do this. Because whenever you get goosebumps, it means whatever you just said or whatever you just heard is truth.
Yes.
So I like to call them truth bumps. So that shows you, and that's a great way of knowing. I mean, truth, that's a big ability to know truth when you hear it. That's huge. And that's one thing that we want to so many times is discern. If I can I trust this? Can I trust? And that's where if something hits me in the heart, it's like, okay, I can trust this. I can trust this person. I can trust this information. I can trust whatever. Those are different ways that our body is showing us. It's like it's talking to us all the time, and it's just tapping in and understanding how each person's body is speaking to them independently, and individually, because we all have different ways of doing it. So it started with things like that, just understanding pieces, getting, and then just start opening up more and more. Finally, I did start hearing. It was gut instincts for a while, gut messages. You just know something. It's like, this doesn't feel right. That's a great one. Start tapping into that one, accepting it, allowing it, and acknowledging it. Acknowledging it is a big one. That's the first big step. Acknowledge an ability. If we keep downplaying it and shooing it away, then how is it supposed to build and develop if we don't believe we have them? So if we will acknowledge an ability, then that opens the door for more to come in. So just, acknowledge it. Thank you. That's wonderful. Cool. What else? Things like that. And that keeps opening your door. It keeps you open and positive. Mm-hmm. So it was just very gradual. It was gut things like that. And then somewhere, this is so subtle for me, and it happened so gradually that it's hard to actually go, okay, on this day, this happened. On this day, this happened, because it just gradually shifted. And it became, then I started getting messages. It was like one word messages. I would just hear something. I'd ask a question and I'd hear something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, that sounds good. And whatever, yes, no, whatever. Yeah, I'm just like, okay. I'm thinking it's just me, of course it is, but anyway. But I'm like, whatever, and then I want more. I want to start asking bigger questions or something. And then I actually started hearing things like, it sounded like in the back seat of the car, and it would get my attention. I'm like, oh my gosh, something's really happening here. Oh my goodness. And that's when it's like, okay, there really is some, it's not just in my head. I actually felt like I heard it outside of me. So that's what made me, I think, start looking more into it and acknowledging more. And the more I did these, if I got a message, constantly questioning. Constantly questioning. I don't know. It sounds good, but I don't know. I think that's my wishful thinking. It could be. But then what would happen is, and I think this might be a law of some kind of universal law, I don't know, but every time I would get a message, I would get 3 confirmations within a 24-hour period of that message. And it would come, many times it was in the form of somebody else just coming up to me and saying something to me. And it would be like verbatim what I got, or it was confirming that the information was true. Sometimes it would be on TV or radio or something. It just somehow something would happen and it would confirm that what I had gotten was true. Now, why that was important was because that would get me to start trusting what was happening, trusting what I was hearing. So first I'm acknowledging it. Second, I'm trusting it. Now, those are big, powerful pieces, because the more you acknowledge, the more you trust, the more it is building, because this is a muscle. It's a muscle that we're working. Exactly. Just like Kaya, you work out, you do yoga, you do all these wonderful building things. And see, you can tell Kaya does, because look at him. I do not do that with the body. Look at me. See? Anyway, but this is a muscle that I do work. and it shows, because it keeps building. And don't you love, Kai, how this is not going at all as we planned? When they have their own agenda, we go with it.
Love it.
So anyway, it was and that's how you're building it. You're building that trust. And the more you trust, the more it comes through. And the more you're allowing, the more you're acknowledging, the more you're trusting. And as you see, it's just a constant cycle. And the more you do that, the stronger this muscle is building, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's opening the I don't know what to call this. The opening. It's opening the opening. It's opening the channel for more of this information to come through. Now, where is this information coming from? You ask. Well, each one of us has a greater part of ourselves, a much greater part of ourselves, that put a piece of it into what we call our bodies, into ourselves, who we think we are. Now, that greater part of us is always trying to communicate. Now, that's guides, guardian angels, higher self. Okay, so we have all kinds of names for it. Guides and guardian angels are a little bit different, but it's all part of the whole that is always communicating with us. So we can be communicating with any of these parts and these beings. But the higher part of ourself is actually us. It's just the bigger part of ourself. And that's what makes it so. It's like if you're hearing things and you're feeling things that feel so familiar, that's why. It's because it's actually you. It's just the bigger part of you that knows everything and knows why you're here. It knows what it is you're looking for. It knows what's going on and your whole plan and everything. So who better to ask questions of than that part of you that knows everything about you? So that's when I understood that, and that was what was going on. That completely changed everything for me. It was no longer a being out there that I was begging to, or that I was trying to convince and help to understand who I was and what was going on and what I needed or anything like that. It was, this is me. This is me. So now, then it became me, this body, holding hands with me, that greater part of me, going through life together. And it's like it was a partnership. We're working on this together. And so that's what I follow. Oh, I'm getting the truth bumps all over me right now. That's what I follow for everything I do. I follow my guidance. When I say I'm being guided, that's what it's about. I say I hear this, somebody needs to know this, whatever. That's what it is. It's this information. I don't have a need to identify it anymore. I used to. I wanted to know these guides, guardian angels. Is this me thinking? Is this you, the higher self? Things like that. I wanted to understand that. I think that's the human part of us. I think that's a natural part in doing this. That's the discernment phase, I call it. And I think it's very normal and natural and healthy for us to go through that, to understand who it is and what it is that's happening. After a while, I never could. It all kind of formed into one. And that's when somebody said that was when integration happened. Okay, whatever. I don't have words for all these things. Other people tell me what's happening sometimes, but that's when it all integrated, and it no longer had different sounding voices or anything. It was just all part of one, and it was all me. It was all just coming in. And then, like I said, now it's just translated into a deep, deep knowing. I just know things. So that's in a really concise little nutshell, kind of, sort of, how my development happened. And that's kind of what I've understood from other people. That's kind of standard. A lot of people go through that course. Now, some people, it happens very, very quickly. In my case, it happened over years and years. That's fine. It's however we choose to go through that awakening, that enlightening, that whatever we want to call it. So there. Did that help anybody?
Yeah, that's great. I saw lots of messages in the chats of people connecting and understanding, and there is always a sense of curiosity that we all have
Mm-hmm.
to open up that reservoir of deep light and guidance that we have at our disposal constantly, right, and ready for us. And
that's the biggest thing right there. It's at our disposal constantly. That you've got to know that. When they always deliver the messages of you are never alone, that's what they mean. See, they are always there. They are always with us. And we call it they because once you get beyond the veil, see, it's just on this side of the veil. And if anybody needs to understand, we can explain the veil here in a minute. But on this side of the veil, we feel like we're separate. We feel like we're individual beings with our own unique characteristics and personalities. And okay, the uniqueness is definitely true. The separateness is not. And that's what they really want us to know. We are not separate. And we understand that when we get on the other side of the veil. And that's when it's all one and everybody's together. But we still keep our uniqueness and individuality there. So it's individuals and uniqueness, but not separate. We are all together. So that's why many times we use the word they, because it comes through like a collective, like a group. So if you ever hear me say they are saying, that's because it's, they finally at one point said, call us your guidance team, because that kind of helps explain the they part of it. That helps people to understand that. So see, all of this is a progression. And I just follow my guidance.
Yes. And as we talk about teams, for me, my team is led by the first past life that I ever had in QHHT, that Suzanne Spooner did it. And I was a French explorer traveling to the New World. And it was this life that I was experiencing. It was so exciting. And there was so much connectivity to it, that it absolutely was real, because a lot of people are questioning. They go through this experience like, oh my God, did I make it all up? They say this, even though they feel in their heart that it's something that's really special and it's really connected and it makes them feel really good. But they still, that voice is like, you made it all up. Did you make it all up? Can that be real? Or what should be real? Only what I see and what I hear, right? And it's now getting to a point where we're seeing beyond those borders. And we're taking peeks and glimpses into the greater parts of us, into who we really are. And the connection with my team and my guides has expanded like incredibly within the context of these last 2-3 years that I've been engaging with our community and expanding, and we've been co-creating and doing all kinds of sessions on each other and working through channeling and this information that comes in. And when I get into this state, it's my higher self is there. And the best analogy that I can use is the higher self's the DJ. So
I love it.
The higher self is the DJ. You're the music. The lower self.
You're the sound.
You're the sound.
Like the speaker. The speaker?
Could be the speaker. Okay. Correct. Yeah. And the information's coming from lots of different sources at their time. And for me, like, there's a big connection to celestial energy and other streams of higher levels of consciousness and intergalactic. It's sort of like, I guess the best way to describe it would be a cosmic consciousness.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's a consciousness of the collective, maybe 3 C's. And it's always a group that's coming in and participating, and they're participating in different timelines and different places and giving me this energy that allows sort of like a turbocharging to come through. And it happens with a greater degree of intensity when I have an audience, or when there's the more people that are listening. It could be 1, 2, but it gets more powerful if it's more. And when we do live sessions and we'll do live events, it's very powerful, and we have 100 people in the room, and there's all kinds of really fun things going on with how people are working through the energy. So it's always the present. It's so interesting how this connection and this energy expands, and it expands to everyone. And this technology is just like it's a little spark. The technology that we use now, that we get to view and we get to use this Facebook medium, it's just a little spark that allows us to connect and open up completely into this new sort of energy and thought processes and connections and expanding with each other. And it's almost like a machine. Like you kind of dial into the machine and it amplifies your vibration, and you get suddenly stimulation for these new thoughts as we're discussing these topics. And it's fun because we participate in this and like checking out the comments, and everybody's it's really fun to read them after. And in real time, it's really, really cool, but we don't get to do that because we have to be cross-eyed and be too hard.
And they're tiny for me.
But it's such a beautiful thing. And I'll get into it in a moment as to just how important it is, because the connection, what we're doing right now, actually has an impact on karma. So now's as good time as any to kind of get to the bottom of this karma thing, because karma is the most misunderstood fact of Earth. The most misunderstood concept that we have here as human beings is the laws of karma, the thoughts of karma.
Okay.
The sequence and structure of karma. There's quite a saying we have here. It's quite popular. Karma's a bitch.
I've also heard karma's going to get you.
Karma's going to get you. Oh boy, they'll get karma for that. Karma will even the score, won't it? And we think about that context of karma that has the negative connotations to it that seem to have the primary vibration of vengeance.
Yeah.
If you think about a driver behind the words and the concept and the activity and action of something that's happening, there is sort of a vengeful driver and evening the score to a perception of karma.
Okay.
And on the soul level, we would like to open up the conversation and allow people to truly understand that the very nature of karma is a uniting and a rebalancing and a re-energizing divine matrix. It allows the individual to experience the flip side of the coin, to get a fuller feeling and understanding for the topic of exploration, for the theme of life or lives that the soul is experiencing. It's a miraculous built-in mechanism that can allow that person a great deal of healing, rebalancing, reconnecting, and realigning of the soul matrix so that they can complete that task, that activity, that mission that they're on, and move on to something else in a purely balanced state, ready to take on a newer challenge, ready to take on the next level that they have in an ascension. Possibly could be in the same vibration, in the same dimension, in the same world, but big overcoming of karma or big rebalancing of energies will allow the soul to make bigger leaps forward as they go forward and take on new challenges. It's a very interesting thing to think about, how we've had this device and how we can use this other side of the coin, this mirror, into our actual activities and how we make others feel and what we put out into the world, and the sort of realigning and seeing things and patterns that we tend to have. Is it interesting? We tend to go through cycles of, seems like I'm going through this all over again. Geez, this is another cycle of this. Went through this before, but it's never the same. Never, ever, 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 ever is that same cycle the same. That perceived same cycle as being the same.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, is it a cycle or is it a pattern?
So it would say a cycle that can be perceived as a pattern, But the words of the pattern can have a limitation because they imply too much density within it, whereas a cycle, given the definition of the words that you have for the cycle, implies a greater level of flexibility and energy able to move through.
Oh, okay.
So getting back to the concept of allowing and examining and exploring new cycles, these are through very karmic intervals that are rebalanced and completed. And when the soul goes through this, when you complete a level of your karma, which is actually a rebalancing, you feel a relief, a re-energizing, a feeling of getting something off your chest, an uplift, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of euphoria when you break through these barriers that may have blocked you before, but now they're opening up. And we are feeling this now in the form of the collective, in the new earth, as we're breaking through karmic barriers of a quarantine that the earth had on itself.
Ooh.
Upon eons of years, there was a quarantine on the earth that could be perceived as a karmic barrier, so that the earth and the beings on the earth can work through the gift on their own and work through their cycles and right the wrongs that they have had in destroying the earth, the environment, the civilization, the floods, the societies that have gone through. You see, now we've gotten to the point where we are lifting these different layers of perceived karma and advancing into a powerful, powerful place. And the euphoria is coming. The feeling of that accomplishment in the new earth is getting released, is allowing us to flow, is allowing us to detach from those objects that have been weighting us down, from those thoughts that were karmic thoughts, that were perceived patterns of what we've gone through and still have not worked through, but we have. But you have. By knowing the nature of this, by focusing your energies on improving yourself, by focusing your energies on following heart energy and going through like vibration, you are building yourself something that is advancing through karma. By connecting, if you're listening right now, you are connecting in a sort of nuclear reactor of energy that breaks through this perceived karma, because it lifts your spirit and allows you to get to new perspectives and find new connections on what may have been blocking you in life. If you're listening now, you will be having new connections about thinking about your own perceived karma or challenges, and the light bulb will be on, and you will get instructions on how to mend that. A lot of times this is purely from forgiveness. A lot of times this can come from gratitude. Those are two factors that can deflect your karma at any time. When you get into those zones, they're very powerful and they're blocked. And if you apply this to whatever karmic, perceived, holding back mechanisms that you have, you will feel that sense of liberation. And in your own liberation, you will also be pushing forward the earth, because it's all interconnected. As you clear your own karma, you advance the karma of the earth, you become the leader, you drive others, you are the grand example of what being a highly conscious being is all about. And the karma shifts and the energy shifts and you grow. And the feeling, the power, the depth that you have to experience love, positivity, energy, gratitude, expansion, charisma, luck, all of these things are byproducts that you will see coming through your life as you release. So, relax, do some contemplation, look at your life, get into a different state of consciousness, whether it may be from meditation, whether it may be from QHHT sessions, whether it could be from automatic writing or channeling, whatever works for you. Get into this other place, look at your perceived karma, look it in the face, and set it free. Forgive what needs to be forgiven, move forward in what needs to be done, and realize that you can't ever fail. That this game is a game that you can't lose. The earth is advancing, you are on your path moving forward. It's just a function of the velocity that you choose to move forward with. The right beliefs that are energized in positivity and engaged in collaboration and a sharing of heart energy and a leading by example of what a conscious life is about how how you're behaving and interacting, what you're putting into your body, who you're connecting with, what you are saying, what inputs you are having in your life. All of these things can aid you considerably in the velocity by which you make your journey forward, advance, and complete your missions, because you are right on the cusp right now. You are on the cusp if you think about this.
Is this where free will comes in? Is that what you would call free will?
And the free will is ever present, meaning you have your life mission that you have set. These are very important themes that you have. And these themes show themselves to you by what your emotions are feeling connected and attracted and brought into. The emotions will show you, when the emotions pop up, what theme you are attached to. And therefore, by examining that with the aid of your emotions, you can take a look at, from different angles, of what this concept is that may be repeating itself or maybe journeying through. Now, your themes should be energizing you. The themes are something that are exciting. You just need to sometimes recalibrate how you're journeying through the theme for another jolt and another level of euphoria. And it comes with the contemplation, the energy and the connection, and the collaboration with other beings that are supporting you. And there are plenty out there in this beautiful group that we do have. Mm-hmm. So enjoy it, appreciate it, realize that karma is your choice. It is a way to expand. It is a way for self-reflection, and is a way for rapid acceleration as you check some boxes that need to be checked. And as you look through your life in new ways. That's all we have to say for that.
No, and that's wonderful. Thank you for that. I like that view of karma. I mean, for so long, I'd heard the term the wheel of karma. What was that, where we just kept doing and doing and doing and not looking at it, not trying to move beyond it? Or what was that, just that? I mean, was that something that just kept moving? And I mean, we're never progressing from it, or very little progression.
Can you repeat the question?
The wheel of karma. I heard that term a lot, and they're saying we have to get off the wheel of karma. And actually, I was told that wasn't here anymore, but I can see how the wheel might be gone, but karma, from your perspective and what you're saying, might still be here because it's a different way of looking at it. Is that the term wheel of karma? What did that refer to? Maybe I should just ask it that way.
A wheel of karma has various religious attachments to it that have been handed down and have had various cementing of concepts to make them easier to understand the progression or the journey of the soul within the body of the religious context. Now, like anything else, this is just a belief system that can be accepted, denied, set aside, taken in with great focus and intensity to get something through, understanding different segments of life and past, and it's all your creation in terms of what you wish to believe about it. There is a certain linear progression of it that resonates well with human beings, in that the karmic wheel tends to make sense in a linear journey. Yeah. So you could be advancing on your evolution, could be, some religions could be going animal to human being and expanding to light being and light creature. It can be caste systems. It can be different things that you approach upon and you move forward through it. But the reality of the situation is that you are not tied into any particular dogma or symbolism or embodiment of how life should be. You can rewrite the script and rewrite the wheel and put these spokes over here and put these spokes over there and move this around and do this simply by understanding and connecting to what it is that you truly desire in your life and your outcome. And enough positive energy, love, and gratitude placed into that will allow these spokes to disintegrate and you can recreate your wheel.
Okay, you said something interesting. Allow these folks to disintegrate.
Yes. If you would imagine the spokes on the wheel to be hardened beliefs or lives that you're feeling are having an impact, then we can use lives for the sake because we are quite comfortable in working under the context of past lives and how they're experienced and reincarnation. And this is where things get pretty interesting. You know, as we have seen, a soul has infinite lives that it may experience, really, really infinite, when you think about the fact that every moment is actually a new life. Every moment is a unique moment that will never, ever, ever, ever be repeated in the history of the universe, multiverse, consciousness, ever, ever, ever. This moment right now is unique, never experienced by another being, never experienced by yourself, and it's actually a new you that is in every moment. And if you think about the new you in every moment and multiply that through the course of your lifetime and multiply that by all the past lives you've had, you'll see trillions of different levels of consciousness that are all used, that are all going on their journeys, that all have decisions and paths and spokes and ways in which they can go. And when you get your head in that space of limitless freedoms and ideas and possibilities of who you are, it really opens things up because you're blowing out the doors, so to speak, on the box that you tend to put on yourself as human beings, as the box we tend to see that narrows our possibilities and scope in life. We tend to settle and accept situations because, for whatever reason, we've boxed ourselves in with belief systems that feel there's no exit, that feel that this is just the way it is. There's not enough money to move forward with this. Oh, no, that idea would be great. I could go broke. I can't do that. No. Oh, I'm in this relationship. Oh, I can't leave. The kids, doing it for the kids, could never, ever leave. No. And how many scenes have we seen where people they'd have suicidal thoughts. They'd rather die than leave a situation that is actually incredibly painful. And they've put themselves into this box. And they've seen it. And they look at these options and neither are good. And they talk to other people about their box. And unlucky for them, the beings are not telling them that the box is different and can be dissolved. It may be repeating some of those beliefs. But there's no boxes. There's no boxes in the universe. The universe is boxless. The universe is free energy, and driven by love, possibility, excitement, passion. So follow it and flow through it.
Okay, so you opened a door here to something that I want to open further. I want to elaborate on this because I think this is like a basis of so much, and it's kind of shifting subjects a little bit, but maybe not. You said, okay, we have every moment, we're a different person, it's essentially a different life. And we have all these different possibilities and probabilities and things like that. So if we make a choice, if we make a decision in something, is the alternative, because in decisions there may be one or two options, two or three options, whatever, different things that could have happened. Do those all play out in different, in other realms that we are not consciously aware of?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is where it gets crazy. So grab on your seat because each of those lives, and in their particular moments that have made different choices that are not along your direct timeline, and they all venture off into different moments. And then on those moments, they venture off and those are all different lives that are living, that are on parallel earths, that are constantly working through. All these earths are simultaneous. All these choices are playing out simultaneous. When you shift your thoughts into a new vibration, you are not going into something that is completely new. You're shifting into a new earth that has that. Always shifting into vibrations. Always shifting. And that's what's really interesting when you think about how powerful you are as a creator. Think about that, how powerful you are as a creator with the power of your choices. When you realize that, it's a good idea to up your game just a little bit. You can up your game just a little bit. Think a little bit bigger with what you can accomplish and what you can do for the earth, for humanity, because I assure you, you can make your mark in your own special way on this earth, in this life, in this experience of now, because it is a very, very, very special life on your timeline of all lives. It is an incredibly important life into the thousands upon thousands and eons and millennia history of the earth. The collective fully shifting into a new dimension of a higher vibration that has never been done before in the universe. It's a very, very important time. It's a very interesting time. And we get more connected to that and feel that change by just understanding the rapid rate of change around us. It's getting to the point now where we think, oh my gosh, you hear something on the news and you think, okay, yeah, I mean, what else is going to happen? You never dreamed some of these things were happening even a year ago. Everything different. And so much beauty in transformation. So much beauty. I was walking down Ocean Drive yesterday, and to see the aliveness of the businesses coming to life and the people exercising, and suddenly everyone having this newfound sense of freedom, and it was really a new earth as they were looking. Back then, maybe even 4 months ago, they'd be looking at that beach. The people that live here, and they think, that's the beach. We know the beach. People that live here joke around. We never go to the beach, even though we live on the beach. When's the last time you're at the beach? My friends are like, we don't really go to the beach that much. But everybody that comes here is like, oh my God, the beach. Everybody was looking at the beach and thinking, wow, this is a great place. They're looking around with eyes. You just saw it. The energy, the feeling, the new earth showing itself. Beautiful thing happening right now.
So maybe that's what had to happen. We had to be removed from it so then we would appreciate it, the beauty again.
Like a long lost lover.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful feeling when you're reunited and you've loved something so much, someone so much, and then you've been separated and now you've been reunited. And that's happening to us on a collective as we're being reunited with each other in new ways of the physical that we were not able to do. And it feels really, really good. And it's a new way of rebuilding. It's a new way of rediscovering, because there's a open mindset right now in the collective that is about rebuilding and recreating with fresh energy and fresh ideas. There's a chalkboard that's rather clean. Used to have a lot of writing on it. Now it's clean, because this world is ready for change and new ideas and new discoveries and new things to come out of this crisis that we've experienced here.
The world, or our minds are ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So because we stirred that topic of all the other parallel lives and universes and everything, I can feel it that, and I knew this would happen, which is, I think, was a good reason to do this. It gets people thinking, and it creates a lot of questions, but as well as some confusion. So is this something that needs to be dwelled on and really, it's like be tortured over about your decisions?
Just the opposite.
Be
curious. Be curious with a childlike sense of curiosity to understand the uniqueness of you, the specialty of your journey, and do everything that you can to get the resources and the support to allow you to see yourself from as many different angles as you possibly can. And I'm talking about the real you, the bigger you. Explore it. Sense your timeline. Feel your timeline. Understand your past lives. Understand where you're coming from and where you've been and where you are. And all of these information, all of these vantage points will give you this beautiful sense and ignition and igniting of the soul in what you want to work on now, when you get a greater perspective of what you've been and what you've worked through and where your challenges are and where your mission is going in which direction. And for a lot of us, it's very clear. You know, you can think about that challenge that you have that's the biggest thing in your mind right now? And we all probably have one challenge that's a pretty big thing that we think about, which may be a little stressful at times. But you can kind of look at that challenge and question yourself is, where is this coming from? And could this be something even bigger that's a cycle? It could be a perceived karma. It could be an experience from a different life. Is it even mine? Is it actually someone else's that they're continuing to bring to me where it's actually theirs? And in that case, you need to have that conversation and say, no, thank you. That's perfectly okay.
No, thank you.
Say no, thank you. We carry a lot of other people's baggage. We worry for other people. We're concerned what other people think of us. We have these perceptions, filters, and they're very strong with social media and judgment and talking about the troll concepts and what motivates some people to express negativity. But listen, in the new world, in the 5D world, the trolls are still there. There's going to be people that are going to be there. They're going to criticize, they're going to judge, that aren't going to understand, and they're going to make certain comments which may be painful, but realize that whatever is coming through that, it's transparent. The real you is meant to express yourself, is meant to be you. And when you realize that and you're so phoned in on that and so focused, you'll see right through, you'll pass right through any criticism, judgment, trolls. They eventually end up minimalizing and eventually they disappear because they're not part of the real 5D world. Right now we're working through that transformation. We're still there. But
so could we be creating the troll-like energy because as a reflection of how we feel about ourselves?
Yes. Ooh.
Maybe a piece of that.
That's a good one. That's really interesting. It's really interesting to look at that because we do create, we can go on a bigger level with this, but it's really us and everything else is a creation. All other beings are brought in as a deal we've made with ourselves to play particular roles, to allow us to experience certain themes, to allow us to transform. If everybody was absolutely perfect and there was clear perfection and there was no contrast, we wouldn't be on earth. We would be in the equivalent of heaven or with all that is, and there would be nothing that is apart from us, which is what we are at our core. But we're going into this experience, this hallucination, this hologram, because what we are in right now is actually a channeling. You are channeling right now. You are channeling your human projection. Your soul is channeling your human projection in your year of 2020, whatever day we are in May. Realize that you are all channeling right now. The real you is absolute perfection, is all-knowing, is indestructible, and is this nuclear energetic factory of love and experience. So enjoy it.
Something, okay, I just got off on my own little journey here. When you were saying that, I had, okay, I'm trying to think what the visuals were that came in. Man, that's just weird. Anybody else just go out? I mean, you hit something really, really big there. It was like, and okay, with the channeling, I think that's what it was. It was just we're all channeling. So the human, the conscious mind could.
There's a doorway that was open when I said you're all channels that allow you to walk in through the doorway and look on the other side of the door and see exactly who you are on the other side of the doorway and recognize your channeling and looking at you as the projection of the channel. And by doing that, it would short circuit your memory. It would short circuit your human consciousness and your ego. And in that time, it's a split second, but that could have been an hour. It could have been a day. It could have been a week. It could have been a year. You could have just taken a full journey and a discovery of that and then zip back instantly into this blank place and jump timelines. That is what could have happened right there with the nature of consciousness. But we tend to snap on these timelines and keep everything symmetrical to keep relative continuity with this experience. But you could have experienced something much, much different there. And you can go by the feeling of your heart into what you have, and anyone else could have too.
Absolutely. That's when you said that it resonated. It really resonated. I couldn't tell you anything in there, but it resonated as far as went somewhere and did my own thing, whatever, and lost memory of it. It's gone. So I love this. I love where we do these actual things. And so anybody else, if you're having this experience at the same time or anytime, if you say something here, that'd be wonderful. We'd love to hear about it. This is normal. They're wanting me to make sure you understand this is normal. Okay, we're not whacked out on anything, and we're not diagnosive, whatever you want to say. There's nothing. This isn't mental. This isn't a mental disorder. This isn't a. This is okay. This is normal. I don't know who needed that one. Oh, you're questioning. See, a lot of people do that when these things happen and they have these experiences. They question their sanity. They question. It's always got. It's like there's something broken. And,
yep.
And that's why I think this is important. That they need this. You're probably more normal because you are opening to this and everything's happening. Yes, I know you have something to say here.
Very important. I have homework for you guys. I would really like for anyone listening to check out the latest documentary, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It is very interesting. It's a documentary created by an emergency doctor that had some fifth kind experience with UFOs and higher levels of consciousness and energy. That's the context by which they wrap the promotion of this documentary. However, it's not really about that. It's actually about using the power of meditation and getting into a place where you are having the world, the universe at your disposal to be able to connect and create and invite and share energies. And there's a really beautiful message that builds into it as it develops. And I saw something in there that was about, how do you feel about Black Lives Matter? What's happening right now? I saw this message. And immediately that's the thought that came to me. And it's a connected thought of unity. As higher level beings from different dimensions and interstellar and intergalactical, in order to fully evolve and become part of a true intergalactic federation and a worldly, super, super, super evolved state of being that's incredibly advanced and beautiful and joyful and everything you could imagine. And think, when you have a question like this or any other question, think about harmony and unity and bringing the entire earth together. And that means race, that means countries, that means currencies, that means finding a way to unify the earth and make it one. There's been a lot of momentum over these last several years to break off and be separate and have separate autonomous countries and strong men taking the role of strong men and the people getting behind the strong men to feel like, yes, us first, us first, us first. And doing these tribes and this us first mentality is pulling the earth back and stalling the earth from the full advancement of where we really want to go. And so thinking about that, when you think of any type of message that you hear that isn't about unity, that doesn't have that as organic to the message, that is not something that will be helpful. You know, for those that want that connection with all parts of themselves and the full realization and the quarantine off of the earth and the really, really beautiful advancement, the thoughts that work and the belief system that get you there, the fastest, will eventually get there, but the fastest and smoothest way is to get behind unifying thoughts of the earth, unifying people of color, race, religion, sexuality, nationality, unity, coming together. Very simple idea, and you can use that as the driver of your thoughts. And this will answer the question, any of those questions that may come up as it relates to politics or socialist ideas as they come up, because it is political season, especially here in America, think about that. Think about the message of unity. When you think about voting these people into office, who's the message of unity? Who can bring us together? Who can make this world better, cleaner? Who can give us a better earth? Who can get behind us so we have higher quality food sources? Who can we bring in that we can be proud of years in advance, that our children will thank us for, not for the politics of the moment, which these politicians tend to think and borrow money and borrow money and borrow money and push the stock market up because it's about the moment. And my legacy is about the moment. So I'm going to push these stock market up and get this going at the expense of borrowing in future generations and children. It's a very selfish model to be thinking about and using. So think about that. Think about that. It's not a good idea to mortgage the future to super accelerate quick gains that are actually leveraged towards the ultra wealthy. That's all we really have to say about that. Don't talk too much about politics, but get behind the message of unity and love and connecting. And that's who your vote should go to.
Okay. Were there a lot of questions on things like that? I can't see.
One.
Okay, one. But that was enough. It
was just enough to
one usually represents more that aren't saying anything, and you were probably the same thing. You're probably feeling it. You know, you can sense. I know it's like a scanning that happens of the people and who's listening now and who will be listening. And it's like, these are the questions.
And vote early. There is a probability, it's a pretty significant probability of problems with election voting systems and the dilemma that could be a big problem coming up for the United States in particular. Voting early and not waiting to that day will help alleviate that and mitigate that probability of having something that is really screwed up, another major 2020 event that could be perceived as a screw up happening around that time. If you wish to just avoid that and have it a bit more smooth into a new administration that will be more in alignment with that unity consciousness and growing a better earth, vote early and spread the message for voting early.
Good.
That's coming in as well. And that's cosmic consciousness looking at.
Well, they have that different viewpoint.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Now, are they able to see, because you're saying like for the future thing, how far, okay, this is what's coming into me. What time frame is this cosmic consciousness speaking from?
It is not a static timeline. Like it's a linear question the way that you've been asking. So I can't say 2352 because it's not that wouldn't be accurate. It is if you would imagine what would be something that's like a if you can imagine a measurement and an energetic measurement of something that's measuring things and it's going up and down maybe like a Schumann resonance, but where it goes up and down like that and you're measuring and you're taking different questions. It's the participants of this conversation are zooming in and out of different timelines that best match the relevant energy of the earth to answer the question appropriately. So they're constantly in flux. The main voice that I speak with is, so to speak, of hybrid civilizations and societies is about 1,000 years into the future, but that's just a construct. There's a lot of other energies that are coming through. So that's about the vantage point, 600 to 1,000 years into the future, being able to feel what Earth consciousness evolves into and how it grows and how it becomes fully united with other hybrid civilizations that come through. And these are with the indigo children and hybrid children that are happening right now, and they're preparing and they're ready to be coming to Earth. But that's another topic in and of itself.
We could do that. If you would like to hear more about that, I think that would be a really good topic that we could explore into and looking at the different timelines and things. So I was going to ask you, you have from that advantage or that position, you can probably see many, many different timelines.
Yes.
Okay. And possibilities or
I
whatever.
snap into based upon the vibration of the conversation. And then I see probabilities for a particular timeline and where things could be headed. because it's never 100% probability. There's just a greater probability and a higher likeness probability. So I'm constantly shifting and feeling different probabilities and all different things based on these conversations in different worlds. It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, that's a huge, huge subject that we just stepped into. And I would love to save that for another time if you guys would like to hear more about that or like to explore that more. And you can send in questions specifically for that. There was a question before the show about karma and all that again. So I'd like to just revisit that just a little bit. If we can go back, I know, and hopefully not. It has to do with the veil. We talked about that. I just said we could discuss that a little bit further. If anybody doesn't fully understand what the veil is, it's that veil of forgetfulness. We come through it and we forget. On the other side, we remember. And I would say where the collective is from, you remember, everything. You've got the understanding. But on this side of the veil, we forgot everything that we came in to do and all of this, who we are, everything. And so one of the questions was, well, why do we have to have the veil? Why is that there? Why can't we just not have that and remember everything? Wouldn't that make things go faster? Wouldn't that make our development be faster? Couldn't we accomplish more? And so what would you say to that?
Can you repeat the question? I was zoning out.
Okay, because I did a lot about what the veil is, and if you want to expand on that, that's fine. Okay. But that's really the reason that we have these. We're just now starting to understand them. We're starting to awaken to them. Is because we've had this veil of forgetfulness, and we are just starting to remember. So the question was, why? Why can't we just know? Why do we have to forget? Why can't we just know? Wouldn't that make our development faster? Couldn't we get through the karma faster? Couldn't we do all this faster? Why do we have to do it this way?
Have you ever gone camping?
Long time ago.
Did you ever go as a child into what you would say as a fort, something that was covering you up? Mm-hmm. You went in with another child and you were in your little fort.
Like a tent? You're in your little tent?
A little tent. Okay. You can make it with pillows. Mm-hmm. And you're in that fort and you're playing and you're experiencing. And it's really an exciting place because you feel totally disconnected, like you're in your own little world, in your own little fort. And you play in there. You know your parents are out there somewhere. But it's cool just to be in your fort. And it's fun because it feels like it's restricted and it's your little place. Mm-hmm. Well, in our veil that we've put upon us, we've designed that as our own fort of creation with limitless possibilities to work through these things and really relegate and push ourselves back into childlike consciousness and watch ourselves play and work through it and advance out of the childlike consciousness and step out of the fort and become more of a complete being. It's about enjoying where you are and enjoying the dance. It is not about the actual destination, because the destination is an entirely different thing, an entirely different point of pure love, of pure attraction, of pure joy, of pure euphoria. And when you reach that point, you get to a point where you're experiencing, but then again, you wish to step down and experiencing something that you're not, so that you can feel that relativity and that differentiation of something that's not you. And that's the game of life. It's allowing ourselves to step down energy levels and then stepping up, step down and then step up and work your way through. That's the game. And the game is meant to be there and appreciated for the sake of the game, which means that every moment is meant to be appreciated for the moment that it is. Not the next time 10 moments that can happen or 20 moments, because they may never happen. You may shift timelines and they don't happen. And then whatever energy you put into that timeline, it's on a different timeline. It was wasted energy. So focus on your present and being present in the present because it is your present.
I love that. That gives it much more context. Yeah, and I love that. And it's not the destination. I mean, the destination, whatever destination you put out there, it will happen for whatever. You know, like you said, maybe different timelines, but it is the experience is what we came here to have.
Yes. We came here with incredible tools to create a very, very, very powerful. Imagine opening your eyes one morning and you're completely in the 5D world. You wake up and you feel your heart filled with joy. And you look outside into the perfect place, your perfect, perfect home, with everyone around you that you want and communicating with you in just the right way that allows you to be your you, the unique you that makes you just fill up with love and bliss. And going through those worlds and those moments and those experiencing, that is there, and it awaits you. And it's your destiny, it's your feeling, and you can visit that. And the more that you visit that feeling and you develop a habit of visiting a feeling where everything is exactly the way that you love, exactly the way you feel so good about everything that you're seeing and feeling and connecting with, the more intensity that you put into this by using your imagination and feeling it, the greater those connections come into this earth being, and they start to solidify around you. And they start to harden that energy that you're bringing in, and your reality starts to be building up exactly the way that you want around you. Now you can create this, and it'll go much further, or you could choose not to put your energy and thought and your heart into this, and you'll still get there, but it'll just be more bumpy, and there'll be things and contrasts and more. But the more you can put yourself into that place, the more energy you will get from it, and the easier it will be to create those, and the more rapid you will go into that dreamlike state, and enjoying it along the way.
Okay, I'm sensing, and I'm having it myself too. Okay, so on one hand, we say to manifest and to create, we focus on the end result.
Correct.
Which is the destination.
Experience the end result. I'll add a caveat to it.
Okay.
Experience the end result, so to speak, but that would be the wrong term. Experience your preferred reality. Let's say that. Okay? Let's experience your preferred reality, or reality that you really, really enjoy or you prefer. Let's state that there and not go linear. I know we want to go linear. Mm-hmm. And sometimes my language gets linear.
Right.
Because it's not my language is not perfect. The messages and the information that's coming to me is perfect. The way that I'm expressing it, it's okay.
It has to come through the filter. That is you.
I'm working with DJ, and my words aren't perfect, but I think you get the general ideas as I kind of do my best to work through this and equalize the energies and then mm-hmm. bring it through. So the destination would actually be your preferred reality, or reality that you love, or reality that you enjoy, or reality that you would choose to manifest. Let's use that definition.
I like that. Yeah, that way it's an environment rather than a one end point or something. So,
yes.
Okay. And then that in itself creates those feelings, which is what creates. So it's those feelings. So that's a great way to, if you want to add, like you're saying, that's exactly what you do. You add to the construct of creating. It's one thing to visualize, but it's the other thing to feel it. So what would that feel like to have whatever, to be whatever? Because usually we can feel it more than we can, we can say, okay, I want this and this and this. Well, what do those mean to you? That they represent something to you. And that's why you say you want them. And it's because maybe it represents freedom. Maybe it represents love. Maybe it represents abundance. Maybe it represents something bigger. It's just a symbol. And so that's where we want to get to that feeling representation, because that can open up even more. I mean, that's much more. I mean, that one symbol, unless we go, okay, my symbol for this is this. So if we want to have a picture, because how many times have we heard, put a picture up, of what you want? That's where that's coming from, is you've attached meaning to that picture. It's not just that item, because it's what does that item mean to you? What will you have in order to have that item? It's that's how those kind of come together. But the feeling, I agree with you, the feeling, that's the environment. That's the bigger, that's the biggest part.
Yes. And if you wish to take that feeling that you're getting from there, and when you go through the normal course of your life, when you see physical things that are attached to that feeling, or there's a spark and you see a physical thing that is somewhere in there of that dream feeling that you're going through, just buy it, make it, take it. Like if you put something physical that's a symbol or representation and you're around it and you hold it and you touch it and you look at it, that expands the power also of that energy, because you're bringing in more physicality of that energy. It can be a shirt, it can be a crystal, it can be a drawing, it can be anything that's connective, it's connective pieces. That also brings that entire manifestation zone into this density and into this world, and becoming more of a force, these connections and doorways that we put around us. So think about, it's kind of funny how human beings tend to, sometimes they furnish their homes with stuff that's just absolutely random. They'll just go in and they'll go to the furniture store and you just kind of buy these things just because they're these things, right? I mean, that's what, like, parents did that and parents did that, but
you got to have couches and chairs and tables and.
But do couches and chairs and tables really make you feel good? If they do, and if you feel they're sufficient and they're functioning, then yes. But if you like a hammock of some sort or bamboo or thing and you're laying, and I don't know, whatever it is that might be an offshoot of that, I highly encourage you to put that in your place, because that is something that's unique to you and special to the you in this world, and you're going to get a lot of juice from that and benefit from that your life things in your world. And not to get too hung up on materialism, but sometimes it is good to talk about materialism, because there's an interconnection between the physicalization of the dream life for the materialism. So now as we're entering, express yourself more, bring more of that dream life into your world. And with any objects, beings, clothes, drawings, whatever it is, express.
So that's the biggest thing, it's expressing ourselves.
Yes. Putting things in your environment that connect you, that lift you up, that give you an immediate feeling of something. And then looking at them and kind of like feeling the vibration, seeing into them. I have these two Buddhas, like on matching Buddhas on both sides of my bed. And they're, I like them because they're really pretty Buddhas. They have the faces that are, they're very attractive faces. Sometimes Buddha's angry or whatever. These are really pretty Buddha faces. And when I see the Buddhas, they're part of me. It's something that's really special energetically. And then you say, like, okay, what does it do for me? It gives me a sense of really calm, and a reminder of that state that they're in, that perfect state of they're in is a state that I have at my disposal too at any time. And I'll pass by them and I'll be like, oh, well, Buddha's feeling good right now. I should take a little break, take some breaths, and match that state of Mr. Buddha here.
That's funny, because just this morning, I took a picture of Mickey, my cat. Okay, people last week, thought they were hearing a cat. It's like, what is this, a spiritual cat? What's going on? That was my cat trying to get my attention. And she loves to do it at certain times. So she is outside right now, so that was good. But this morning, she's so funny, because where I have my office or anything, I'm facing the window and I'm facing my front area. And I have a retaining wall, and in that wall, I put a Buddha out there. And it was so funny, because I was taking a picture of Mickey because she was on the banister trying to get my attention when she was outside, because she didn't like that she was outside and I was inside. And anyway, and so she was trying to get my attention to let her in. And it was so cute, because I took a picture of her, and right just beyond her was the Buddha. And that was really interesting, that is what got in there. Well, this Buddha, like you said, you pick the ones that mean something to you. And this Buddha I absolutely love. is playing a flute.
Ooh, wow.
Exactly, and that's not common to
No.
see. So I loved it when I found it, and that's very personal to me because I played the flute. Flute was a big part of my life in high school and college. I was in university band, and it was a big part of my life in music. And so that was really cool. I mean, it's a very serene instrument. It compels. It's very soft and sweet. And then here we have a Buddha who's playing a flute. I mean, you put those two together, and it just very much conjures up all these very nice, calm
Yeah.
feelings of just beautiful tranquility. And so that's really cool.
What is coming to mind for you to share a little story that I think may be interesting?
Okay.
Remember the birthday present that I got you in Orlando?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell the story about what happened with it when you?
Yes. Yeah, that was funny. Okay, and it's funny that year, I think both of our birthdays came up during classes, so we were able to celebrate during them. But anyway, Kaya took me to this crystal shop and said, whatever whatever works, anything, it feels good. And what was compelling was a crystal ball, and so that's what he got me for my birthday, was this beautiful crystal ball. I mean, it's gorgeous, and we got these little it's like wooden hands like this that are the holder for it. Okay, so this beautiful crystal ball in these hands, and so it was during the class, and so it's still there in the hotel and everything. So I was thinking, well, you put crystals in the moonlight, you put them kind of by the window and let them observe. And I don't remember if it was a full moon then or it was something to do with the moon, but I thought I'll just put it here by the window and then it can absorb that energy. Made sense, right? And one day, it was like, I think it was one of the days we were off. I was in the chair. You know how they always have a chair by the window and the little table, and then you have the bed, okay? All hotel rooms are pretty much the same. And so I was in the chair doing some work, and I started, because I'd been contemplating, like, how do I work with the crystal ball? What do I do? And somebody said, well, you got to let it charge, which is what I was doing. And then when it's time to work with it, you meditate. You just meditate with it, okay? All right, so I'm like, okay, so that's what I was doing. I'm letting it charge. So I'm sitting in the chair, and then I'm working away and everything. All of a sudden, I saw this little wisp. It's a little wisp of like a mist. Wow. It's a little wisp of something. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And then I saw another one. Wow. And another one. It was just like, oh, and I could see it was coming from the direction of the crystal ball. I thought, oh, that's really interesting. I mean, I don't know how crystal balls work.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe that's part of its charging thing. I don't know. And so then I start looking, because it's like, this is getting to be a little bit more. I thought, okay, so I'm looking at it, and then I noticed, okay, well, it's not coming from the crystal ball. It's coming from the wooden hands underneath the crystal ball. It's coming from one of the fingertips. And I happened to note the sunlight was coming through the crystal ball, and it was going to the hand. So it was acting as like a magnifying glass for the sun, which was creating, that finger was actually starting to burn. It was a very powerful crystal ball.
You're gonna burn down the hotel.
I'm like, there's ain't no candles. They say nothing about crystal balls. So then once I realized that, I took it and I put it over on the bed, away from the window. It's like, okay, you're done. But it's a gorgeous crystal ball. Anybody know anything about crystal balls? Because I just get messages. My messages come to me. So to use an object, and I'm guessing that's how it works, is you meditate with it or you look into it. I mean, I know people, they look into it and they see things. So I'm guessing it's a tool that just allows you, they're saying right now it's like a magnifying.
Annie Sparkle is saying that in the chat too.
Oh, what is she saying?
She's saying crystal balls magnify energy, heart.
Okay, there we go. Because they were saying what magnifies, and I'm telling you, I cannot see what's being said over here. So, so if you say it magnifies your thoughts, your whatever you're looking at, it also brings clarity, is what I'm hearing. So I guess somehow What do you ask it questions? What do you do? I mean, I want to know what to do here. So, and then because I do it this way. So is this just another tool to get the same thing? Do you actually see things? I'm very, very curious.
These are very good questions. I think in the chat we may have some answers that are popping through. There may be some crystal ball experts in there.
I do not doubt it. I know, like, there's lots of tools, like the tarot cards or different cards. Those are tools. In fact, that's what I used to do, was tarot cards, and that's how I first started learning that I had my gut knew stuff, and I was like, that's interesting. The cards, these pictures say this, but I was feeling something else, and the person that I was maybe reading for was like, we were just playing with it. And they're like, wow, that's it, that's real, that's it, and it was what my gut was saying. Mm-hmm. So the pictures on there somehow translated, and because as long as I didn't read the book, then I would get better information. It's when I would go there that it would kind of mess with, because then my head's getting in it, say, trying to piece it out and analyze it. So as long as I stayed away from that, I got really good information. So I'm guessing that's how this works.
Have you had a past life with like a crystal ball? Or
not a crystal ball, but with I just know if I was working with herbs, I was working with plants and creating like medicinals with herbs, natural alternative medicines and things. And so, and I've been told that I did things in other lives, but I never was told about a crystal ball. But I was sure resonating with that crystal ball. I mean, it was like that one was talking to me. So maybe, who knows? I think we bring, we all have these abilities. First of all, that's who we are. That's our innate, natural part of us is this, and we're just bringing that part of us into ourselves. And so, I mean, we have these abilities. Now, if we have an affinity to these abilities, that's the word, apparently, because I was trying to search for, well, we've always said we have these abilities. What's the big deal? I mean, that doesn't mean, have we all been these things, had these experiences in our other lives? And they're saying if you have an affinity to these things now, then that is indicating that you have done it before.
Mm.
So, there we go. And that's why it's appealing to you, because it's natural. This is something we do. So we're just bringing back our other talents. And
that's why, if you're like, let's say you suddenly see a blue horse, like, and you decide, you think, I really like that blue horse, but I can't put my finger on it. And it's a blue horse lamp, and you see the blue horse. Get the blue horse. There's something is driving you to get the blue horse. And if you're concerned about your family things, you come back and you say, guess what? I've got this blue horse, and it's going right here, and just put it there and explain that this is something special for me, and start there, and then continue.
Everybody has something a little quirky in their life that is very special to them, and they just don't understand fully why.
Exactly, and it could have very powerful meanings.
Mm-hmm.
And connecting with that past you, there's a jolt of synchronicity and energy that can resonate back when you are putting energy into something that is connected from another version of you, and that opens up the cycle for you to be able to get energy from your future, and some object that you'll be attracted to that will be part of your future self, that will allow as a doorway and a connector for you to get more into your life of something that you should be drawn to, that's really good for you, that can pull you in this better place. There's this magical synchronicity. Now, if we talk about karma, this is the right wheel of karma, and it's the wheel of your lives inducing positive synchronicities and linking each other through feelings in your heart of something that is good and attractive and desirable, and looking at these things and just feeling good. And they can be, and it's interesting. Normally we never talk about objects or stuff like that, but they do have a role in the physical and the symbolism and the physicality of these things that can bring you joy, that can be these connectors and can open up these positive karma wheels of into your future life and bringing it back and here and back and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is it. You know, we always say, yeah, materialism, oh, materialism, but materials do have their places, you know, so
Yeah.
it's part of our creation. One, they're very easy to create. So it's easy to get. I think that's some of that beginning stuff, you know, when you're first starting to manifest and create. And it's like, that's a great way to give yourself reinforcement that you did this, you know, because it's easy to create physical objects
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
into your life. And I mean, I don't mean go out and build it, although you can, but they can come into your life easily.
There's a site that I really like, and because it's about individual craftsmanship and individual artistry and sharing to the world, and I think it's something that's amazing. And I wish the world was just one big website like this. It's called Etsy. I don't know if you've heard of it. ETSY.
That's where my peacock picture came from.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so cool. You can find anything of individual people that are making these creations, and it's so much better than like shopping at corporate places that have these generic things that don't have like the soul of the individual in them. And then you can see the bio of the artist and what their vision is and what their connection to that is. And I'm like, that's something that's really cool. I really like that. It's a great site, great collection of people on there. It's nice.
Oh, it is. I didn't. I was just looking because I was trying to complete. Yeah, I think you've seen my sitting room in here. I just call it my sitting room. I don't know. I've never done any sitting in it. It's just, it's just, but it's nice. It looks off the back deck. It looks, you know, to the back of the house. And I decided to make it a peacock room, and would be because I'd gotten a couple peacock. For some reason, I was attracted to peacocks. You know, I love peacocks, but at this point, I found them. I found some in Mexico. There were some metallic ones, and so I just kept adding, and got some other things. And I was like, I want a picture. It needed a big picture, and that's Etsy. You know, I was just Googling, and I started peacock pictures, and oh my gosh, I found this absolutely fantastic one on Etsy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So cool.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, whatever. But that feels good. I don't know what that room, you know, it makes me feel good when I walk through that room. It's very calming. That was its purpose. It was just to be a calming room.
And that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
It has its purpose of a calming room and a connective room, and yeah.
Its symbol is to sit and relax. I may not ever do it there, but it's a symbol, and so I feel calm whenever I go through it. How much sense does that make?
Complete sense.
Okay, good.
We don't make absolute sense in where we're going with this, but that's the whole purpose. This is the time when we can be a little crazy, a little bit loopy, and really go into thoughts and connect things that we normally don't talk about in day-to-day conversations. I guarantee you, this is the spot, the place where you can come and expand your mind week after week after week and look at different connections. You just get one little idea that maybe becomes part of our communication. And that one idea can be a spark going into so many different things in your life. That's the beauty of it, of like kind of like plugging in and sharing and connecting.
Right.
And so now I think it's a good time to say, like, there's all these new people that are on.
Absolutely.
For those of you guys that aren't aware of, or you don't know much about past lives and other forms of consciousness, it's what's really helped us get into these states and access this information has been a tremendous kind of accelerator into all this is quantum healing hypnosis technique, or QHHT. And if you'd like to learn how to do this technique, it's we have an online course, level 1 online course, and Julia has a coupon code. It's called, coupon code is lots of love, and you can go to the site QHHT official. So QHHT official. You can use the coupon code lots of love and learn quantum healing hypnosis technique, which is amazing. And I think so many people in the chat can attest to that, how powerful it is to explore different levels of consciousness and be able to perform this technique on other people. And as part of it, you get it done on yourself too, as you work with our group and you get to know our group. And then it's just this amazing family that we have of expanding human consciousness that is so beautiful. And just a really, really amazing launch pad into new realities.
Well, and it's a huge launch pad, and you get to explore all these areas. But another wonderful, wonderful benefit of it is like here, Kai and I channel all the time. That started from sessions because we were opened to these other parts of ourselves. And then that allows you see this in a session, you experience it in a session, then you know how to work with it in the conscious state. It's showing you this is real, this is what's happening, this is out there. And so now you can, and it shows you how to connect in the conscious state. That is a huge, huge benefit, because that's where, they've always been telling us the answers lie within. You have all of your answers. You don't need to go to people or other things outside of yourself to get your information. It's all within. But so many times we don't know how to connect to that part, how to connect to those answers. And that's what QHHT helps you do. You connect to it, you see where they're coming from, so then you can do it on your own anytime you want after that. So that's the beauty of it. That's what it's for. I love it. It's so healing and expanding.
Yes.
And I truly, truly am honored. My mother created it and developed it, and I am so honored to be able to continue the legacy and the practice and the beautiful, beautiful work that it's doing for humanity. And I love that Kai is here with me to help do it. I mean, we made this agreement a long time ago, apparently, to come back together and to help expand and help everyone to understand who they are. And this is a wonderful tool to do that. It's a beautiful tool for humanity. So my heart's with you. I love you all, and I'm so glad to be part of this.
Thank you, beautiful humans, for this amazing connection again and exploring these themes. Look forward. We'll be back again at this time. Hit the notification button for Earth Tribe notifications when we do lives, and we'll also be putting it out on other social media. It could be Highly Abundant, could be the Dolores Cannon site. Sometimes we move around a little bit, but we'll be announcing on social media. We do emails and make announcements, but we'll be back this time again next week on Friday. Beautiful connection, and yeah.
11:33.
See you all later. Bye.